"You despicable woman. Come out now." Knock, knock, knock. When the violently knocked door opened, there stood a grinning my sister's former mill, Olivia, and a police officer. "What on earth is going on? Bring your sister here. She's such a greedy woman." After the divorce, she snuck into our house without permission and secretly took away several luxury goods. "We have evidence. Just give up and hand her over." My sister returned home after getting divorced, unable to bear the harassment from Olivia. My sister was living with me after that. "All right, please come in. I'll let you see my sister. Hurry up." Olivia and a police officer entered the house. She changed her expression the moment she entered the room. What's going on?" There was a portrait of my sister in front of her. The police officer was taken aback. I calmly said, "Now, tell me everything. Right here, in front of my sister. My name is Madison. I currently work as an office worker. Since my workplace is close to my parents' house, I live with my parents and help out my mother. My sister, Layla, had previously married and moved out, but she got a divorce, and so she started living at our parents' house again. The reason for the divorce was apparently due to her husband, David, and Mill, Olivia. Layla was working for a big company, and thus had a relatively high income. Taking advantage of this, David quit his job on a whim. He relied entirely on Layla for living expenses, and lived a lazy life. They had a lovely daughter named Anna, but he didn't do any parenting. When the baby cried at night, he just annoyingly turned over in bed. And Olivia, despite knowing this situation, constantly harassed Layla. She apparently didn't like the fact that Layla earned more than her own son. If that's the case, she should have encouraged David to get a job. Olivia also didn't like that Layla was better at cooking than her. No matter what Layla made, Olivia always had some complaint. People like Olivia try to maintain their pride by oppressing others, rather than trying to improve themselves. The environment was extremely toxic for Layla, who had been hardworking and had learned how to cook even before getting married. David's relatives seemed to like Layla because of her kindness, but even that seemed to irritate Olivia and David. To top it all off, they didn't even like Anna because she wasn't a boy. It was awful. Adding to this, Olivia would openly harass Layla even in front of her relatives. For example, when they ordered food for family gatherings, they would intentionally not get any for Layla, making her eat just a few slices of bread in the corner of the kitchen. Olivia forced Layla to clean Olivia's house. Olivia also told Layla that she loves all of her grandchildren except for Anna. And seeing all this mistreatment towards Layla and Anna, David did nothing to protect them. He would just turn a blind eye, and when things got tough, he just went out for a drink to escape it all. Despite everything Layla had been enduring, but Olivia's behavior continued to get worse. Layla had a shellfish allergy, and after finding this out, Olivia started to prepare dishes with shrimps. An allergy is just like a preference, just an excuse. Eat it without any complaints. There were days when Olivia forced Layla to eat shrimps. It was a mild allergy, so it didn't cause severe problems, but knowing it would cause hives and still being forced to eat must have been excruciating. Moreover, upon seeing Layla's skin redden with hives, Olivia made fun of Layla and took some photos. "What ugly skin you have. But maybe that's what suits you best." One can only imagine how Layla must have felt, enduring such humiliation that even degraded a woman's dignity. This was beyond unacceptable. Anna, who was still bottle feeding, was discovered to have an egg allergy during a checkup. But Layla didn't tell that to David and Olivia. She thought they might force Anna to eat eggs too if she did inform them. As a working mother, Layla couldn't always be there to protect Anna. Feeling that Anna might be in danger, Layla decided to get a divorce. However, when it came to it, the two who had bullied Layla so much refused to agree to the divorce. Even though they disliked Layla, she was the one supporting them financially, so they didn't want to get a divorce. Such selfish behavior was entirely unacceptable. Luckily, Layla had a lawyer friend skilled in divorce matters, so she managed to finalize the divorce. Thanks to diaries detailing the years of harassment from Olivia and David's uncooperative behavior, Layla finally became free. She also gained custody of Anna under the condition that she wouldn't ask David for child support and returned to her parents' house. A few months had passed since Layla's return. We were living happily, just like old times. I don't have kids, so I was really fond of Anna. I remember the overwhelming feeling when I fed her a bottle of milk for the first time. Being inexperienced with babies, I was so timid. Layla used to tease me, saying I looked too nervous, but now it's a lovely memory. But eventually I became the one in charge of feeding Anna her milk. She no longer cried at night very often, and it was heartwarming to see such a tiny baby grow. I felt that I might be better than Layla at giving baths and changing diapers now. One day, I was making milk for Anna. Suddenly, the doorbell of my house rang loudly. Rushing to the door, there was a police officer. "What's the matter?" To my surprise, Olivia stood next to the police officer. "Do you live here? Bring Layla here." Olivia's sudden outburst startled Anna, making her cry. I decided to let the police officer and Olivia in. As I tried to soothe Anna, I listened to the police officer. "Layla Smith, residing here, is under suspicion for a certain matter." Unlike the fuming Olivia, he calmly explained. Apparently, luxury goods from Olivia's house had gone missing about 3 months ago. The missing goods were mainly from a closet containing expensive bags and jewelry, suggesting that someone familiar with the house took them. And from that room, they found Layla's fingerprints. So, there's a suspicion that Layla Smith might have been involved in the incident that took place at Olivia Williams's house. I've heard from Mrs. Williams that she was the type of person who could possibly do such a thing. What do you think? Turning to Olivia, she didn't look at me at all, and was just drinking a cup of coffee I had prepared. That girl has always been defiant. Yet, just because she earned a tad bit more than us, she acted all high and mighty. Always looked down on us. I was finally feeling relieved that such a wicked woman was out of the picture, and now she's stealing from others. She really is a nasty piece of work. The police officer, taken aback by her strong words, tried to stop her. How mean she was. Olivia seems to want to keep painting Layla as the villain, even after the divorce. But her plan seemed naive. I couldn't help but smirk at her foolishness. "I'm sorry for the inconvenience, but if you're talking about an incident from 3 months ago, Layla has nothing to do with it. She has to be involved. Her fingerprints are there. She must be holding a grudge from the divorce, and stole some luxury goods." Olivia retorted angrily, but I calmly replied, "Layla, my sister, passed away 6 months ago." "What?" Olivia's stunned voice echoed in the silent room. As I said, Layla is no longer with us. It happened exactly 6 months ago. She texted me saying she was coming home from work, but an hour passed and she hadn't arrived. Given that her office and our home were only about a 30-minute drive apart, I was getting worried. I heard an ambulance siren in the distance and had a bad feeling. I told myself it was just my imagination, but shortly after, I got a call from a hospital. It was a car accident. Layla, who always worked hard for her family and took care of Anna, never made it home that day. My mother and I were devastated, but it was little Anna who helped us get through. I still do things like feeding and bathing Anna, using the methods Layla taught me. I must have had a good teacher. I think I might even be better at it than Layla was. There's no way that's true. You're just trying to get away with a lie. If you think so, please follow me. I led the skeptical Olivia and the police officer to another room. Layla's portrait there told the real story. Despite her challenging life, Layla looked serene and beautiful. Layla was my dear sister. A sincere, kind, wonderful person. Even if she was still alive, there's no way she'd take someone else's belongings. The police officer seemed convinced and turned to Olivia. "What? Are you saying it's my fault? But there were also fingerprints on the closet. Couldn't those fingerprints be from when you forced Layla to clean your house? I've heard she was often made to do cleaning by you." The police officer seemed to be not told about this, and he furrowed his brow. "Mrs. Williams, didn't you say that no one had touched that closet?" Olivia seemed to have been caught lying, and her face went pale. "I've seen entries about the cleaning in the diary Layla left behind. Would you like to see it? I don't need any more of your stories. Just like Layla, you have such an infuriating personality. It's that attitude that annoys people. Stop insulting Layla now. I'm not as patient as she was. I won't tolerate you belittling my precious family right in front of me." Seemingly frightened by my words, Olivia rushed out of the room. For some reason, she then tried to grab Anna and head for the front door. As Anna began to cry, I ran towards them and saw Olivia trying to hurriedly put on her shoes. "Help! Olivia's trying to kidnap Anna." At my shout, the police officer quickly restrained Olivia. I took Anna back from Olivia, ensuring she wasn't hurt. She didn't seem injured, but Anna was shedding tears. What have you done? That child no longer has a mother, right? Then the custody should transfer to her son, David. Spouting nonsensical theories, Olivia even showed aggression towards the police officer. Let me go. I'm that baby's grandmother. This is a civil matter, isn't it? No, we can't overlook this. There's been a false report, so you have to come to the police station with me now. Olivia was then taken away in the police car, even though she resisted. By the time the sound of the sirens faded, Anna had cried herself to sleep. I later found out that the story about goods missing from Olivia's house was a blatant lie. The whole incident began when David's father realized that some luxury goods had disappeared. Olivia and David, who used to splurge using Layla's salary, found themselves broke right after the divorce. So, they secretly sold the luxury goods. When David's father found that out, Olivia schemed to pin everything on Layla. At that point, it was already a pathetic story, but Olivia, confident in her twisted logic, tried to scam Layla out of compensation money, even reporting to the police. She didn't have an inkling that this would backfire. And her attempt to take Anna with her was due to another selfish reasoning. Olivia thought that if Layla had passed away, custody would naturally transfer to Anna's father, David. She intended to bring Anna home and lay claim to Layla's inheritance. There's no way David, who's incapable of caring for a child, would get custody. Moreover, Anna's custody had already been transferred to my parents after they legally adopted her shortly after Layla's passing. Even if Olivia had succeeded in taking Anna away in that moment, she would have just incurred more legal troubles. In the end, Olivia was arrested for her false claims. Being a first-time offender, she seemed to avoid jail time, but her misdeeds were now the talk of the town. It seems people had already seen through her two-faced nature, and this incident merely ostracized her further. David's father was furious over this and divorced Olivia. In addition, David, who had become a typical unemployed loafer, was also kicked out of the house. David's father demanded compensation for the goods Olivia had sold without permission. Among the goods Olivia had sold were antique goods that he got from his parents. Apparently, the amount he demanded was very high. I also demanded compensation from Olivia for this incident. I don't have an ounce of sympathy for her, who tried to exploit Anna and Layla even after Layla's passing. Now, Olivia and David are living in a small apartment. It serves them right, so I have zero sympathy. Even in this situation, David refuses to work. So Olivia, at her age, has to juggle multiple part-time jobs. Juggling multiple jobs might not be enough to pay off her massive debts, though. I felt a bit relieved to hear that they're going through a tough time. After that, I consulted with my parents and decided to move to a house with high security. It's not guaranteed that Olivia and David won't target Anna in the future. Olivia isn't the kind of person to reflect on her mistakes. Given they know where we used to live, I wouldn't put it past her to seek revenge. Regarding Layla's inheritance, we plan to use it solely for Anna's education until she becomes an adult. Even though Layla couldn't see Anna grow up, her efforts will surely benefit Anna's future. I intend to tell Anna plenty about Layla when she gets older. Despite many hardships, she was a wonderful mother who always tried her best for her precious daughter. From now on, I plan to raise Anna with my parents. There might be things beyond my capabilities, but Anna's happiness is my greatest joy.